Hey guys, Dev here at WeBuyHouses.com. Welcome to the Cash Offer Masterclass, episode number 46. We are rolling along here, and today we're looking at this house in Waxahachie, Texas. The name looks like Waxahachie, but we call it Waxahachie out here in Texas. We say things a little bit different. Just look at Bexar County. If you don't know how Bexar County, San Antonio's county is spelled, Google it. It's not right. Okay, we're going to jump into this one, but before we do, I want to give you an update on just what we saw in episode 45. Back in episode number 45, we were looking at this mysteriously beautiful home on Delaney Drive in the northern part of Fort Worth. A very desirable neighborhood, very desirable school district, everything about it very desirable. And they had this house at a 554 ARV, and they were saying the opportunity was 342. When we did our model in perfect condition at a 70% discount, but number one, we confirmed the ARV was about 550, and that in perfect condition, we could pay 389 for the house. And then we went and looked at it. If you looked at the last episode, and the house was in amazingly excellent condition, and so we had a 389 in our model. They were looking for 342. So I was like, you could throw, 20, 30,000 of updates into this thing and still be at a good value, as a real estate investor. It just seemed too good to be true. And I kept thinking, what is wrong with this house? Why are these people willing to sell a house for $200,000 below its market value in its current condition? It was too good to be true. Today I get an email, and what does it say in the title? It says typo correction. And when we go down, look at the typo correct. Here's where the typo was, my friend. It was a 3 instead of a 4. That's $100,000 difference. So basically now it starts to make sense for us that we said, just if you took the 554 and you went to 70%, it's about 389. That's what we could pay. That makes more sense. They want $50,000 more than we could pay. Now the deal doesn't look like a great deal. Now it all makes sense to me. It was a freaking typo. Still was an awesome house to look at. And for that brief moment that was being offered by Fazio for 342, I don't think they wanted to take that deal. I bet they got a few calls on that one, and maybe from the video, I don't know. But yeah, it's actually 442. Big difference, big difference. Okay, that was that. Those things are going to move out of our view. We got this one today. And there's that city name I was talking about, Waxahachie. We call it Waxahachie. And as we look at this one, it looks like a perfectly nice little house. And let's see, ARV 435, and they're just looking for 262. Sounds interesting. Can't wait to get into it. Brick house on a tranquil country lot. Just minutes from, it's a lot of minutes from Dallas. It's only 6 miles from Waxahachie proper, but so it's kind of a little bit out in the middle of a field sitting by itself. Large lot. Yeah, it's a very large lot. There's plenty of future expansion. There's miles and miles of future expansion all around this property. It's still very desirable, and I'll show you the location. But the wholesalers saying no known issues on the Big Five, and that sounds really good. So yeah, to look at it, this is what I was talking about. Like, there's the view across the street. Not a whole lot. You got plenty of privacy, right? You're coming down here, looking down the street. Well, there's another kind of the back view of it. Everybody's spaced out pretty well because there's plenty of space out there in Waxahachie. Or actually, what you'll find, if I come up here to the main street and kind of turn, go over here, that's the house over there. Yeah, you see it. It's a nice house, and there's a nice house next to it. I don't know why they would build so close to each other, because they've got miles and miles of places to build houses out here. So if you look at where this is in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, it's south of Dallas off of, say, either 35 or 45. In fact, looks like 45 might be the closer route, not going to Waxahachie, but actually going down to Palmer and then cutting across on whatever the heck that is, Jefferson Street, to come through Palmer and get to the property over here. That's where it sits. And you can see those other properties around it, just a smattering of homes out there, not a lot. It is neat. Look, it's a neat area. There's no problem with that. And then, as I said, about 6 miles to get over here into the main part of Waxahachie. And that's where you're going to find your, that's where you're going to find your, what do I call them? Family Dollar. I'm always looking for the Family Dollar. You got a Sonic, you got Taco Casa, you got the O'Reilly's. I know there's Family Dollars out there. I'm just not seeing them right at the moment. But there's a Family Dollar in Waxahachie, probably a couple of them, and Asian King Buffet. Hey, so I got everything you need right over there in Waxahachie if you're willing to drive the 6 miles. No big deal at all. All right, let's jump into this house and see what we have here. I went into the model. I set it up. This house has, 1914. Did I get the numbers right? It has 1914 square feet. It was built in 2006. It sits on over an acre and 4-bedroom, 2-bath. And so as we jump in, I'm going to go ahead and move past those things. As we jump into the model, there's our square feet. We went and looked at Zillow, said it was at $398, $600 as the Zestimate, and price history shows that it's been as high as $425, $422. Recently, Zillow curved it down a little bit. And we come over here to Realtor.com. We find it's at $407. We come over here to Redfin. We find it's at $398. And Property Radar told me $371 actually was the lowest of the 4 that we looked at. There's those values that we just brought in. We get an average of $394. Put it in that spot right there, and then the calculator does its job. If this house was in excellent condition, it needed absolutely 0 repairs, we could pay $275, $276 for the property. What do they want for it? $262. So we got room for 10 grand of repairs. 13 grand of repairs, if that holds to be true. Now, they said ARV was 435. Our quick analysis of the sites available to us gave us a 394 instead of that 435. So we are off about, $40,000 on the ARV, about 10%. As I always tell you guys, I don't really care what the wholesaler tells me the ARV is. We determine the ARV ourselves, either through the method that I'm showing you here by looking at the public sites and averaging them, and or doing a competitive market analysis using the MLS, which is what you could do if you're licensed or you have a partner friend that has a license and access to the MLS. Gives us that data. That's what's going to tell us what the ARV is. What we do care about in what they're telling us is what they want for the property, that 262. And so that's a real number, and we're going to jump into it and see if this house needs just $13,000 in repairs. Then this is a great deal, and right at what our model is telling us. But we got to jump into it to find out if that's the case. So let's do it. Let's go back to the email that I received from the wholesaler here. The wholesaler, by the way, is Fazio Real Estate Solutions. I don't have a relationship with Fazio. I don't make a dime if you buy the house. I just use their emails as the content for these educational videos. But if you do have interest in it, this is a real house that's available for sale here on November 12th. And you just reach out to Jade Vaughn at 214-646-9646. She could hook you up with this property or any of the ones that they have under contract in Texas. And now I'm noticing in Florida, these guys are a serious wholesaler and they're out there getting a lot of deals under contract. let's jump into the pictures on this one and see what we have. Any videos? Any videos? Oh, look, I see one.mov. Any more? Bunch of pictures. Let's look at that.
Okay, this is the video of the backyard exterior.
It needs paint. You see that exterior paint, bad shape. Above the ground pool, not super desirable. Big backyard, nice storage building back there. That elevated deck has seen better days. I think you could probably paint that and restore that, make it look pretty crisp and nice. The brick looks good. The dog sounds big. Big old condenser unit. Did you see that? Pool looks a little green. It's an above the ground pool. That's what they do. They turn green. That is their job. That's their purpose in life. Big old condenser unit. Some tires there in case you need to swap one out. Some cleanup stuff. No big deal.
Thank you.
I like the brick on the house.
That garage door.
It's attractive. Boy, you are out there. Look at that. Standing amongst the cows. Look at that front yard. I like it, but I wouldn't want to mow it. That's the problem with having like a big lot. Is that every time you look out there, you gotta do. It's just work. Yeah, see that brick? That brick's nice. I like it. I think this is like a 2006 or 2009.
This is the front of the house.
About 20 years old, but that's a good brick choice. Nobody's cared
Left
for
side
it.
of the house.
That, when you see that overgrowth in the front of the house, it's telling you you're going to find lack of maintenance on the inside of the house. That's just a lot of growth to allow to occur around the house and not do anything about it. It's kind of weird. Well, not weird. It's just people don't care. So that was that, and I think that was the only movie that they had. Pretty cool, though. I do really appreciate that. Thank you, Fazio. And there's the house. I think that roof looks pretty good. And if we just look up under, at the soffits, they are in pretty good shape. They got an outlet up there. It's very convenient for the Christmas lights. I've done this on builds that I've done. Always put lights up for the outlets up for the Christmas lights with a switch on the inside. Little thing. It's the little things, right? Decent looking house. It's just, guys, my main thought about this one is kind of out in the middle of nowhere. I do think this thing needs exterior paint pretty much all the way around. It's just old. I think that's the original paint. What was the year on this? It was 2006. So yeah, I think we're looking at original paint on that bad boy. Elcom, I don't know what that said. It used to say something. There's a message there for us. I just can't interpret those characters, those foreign characters. Okay, again, yeah, this dirtiness. Look at that dirtiness. The door needs to be repainted. The Elcom needs to come off of it. But that's all simple stuff. Just paint. Looks like we might have some broken window screens. Those are those blackout screens. Yeah, again, you see up all the exterior paint. You can see, issues. That almost looks like some water damage. I would be really concerned about that. I'd want to look into that. Let me get my cursor down here. You see what I'm talking about? Those cracks up there? It looks almost like there's one by this air vent right here as well. Something to look at while you're there. Oh, the kid snuck out at night, came home, he couldn't get back in. He had to tear off the screen. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't a kid. Maybe it was a burglar. But if you're going to burgle houses, this is a long way to go find one to burgle. All right. Again, I think the roof itself, it's always hard to tell in pictures, but the roof itself looks pretty good. It's just these exterior, this exterior stuff just needs to be painted. No big deal. There's something going on there with those blocks and that. They didn't want anybody coming in that gate, I guess. Looks like a newer gate. Something's unusual about that. All right, we saw this in the video. Backyard, above ground pool. Looks like it might be sunk down a little bit. And that's all right. But, again, there's no value to an above the ground pool like that. Here on the side, fence doesn't look great, but it looks okay. Boy, there's your natural trail. You can see everybody walks the natural trail there. All right, we saw that in the video. I'm not really going to go in too much on that. It was definitely an older deck and kind of in a little bit rough condition, but doesn't look like it's falling apart or anything. I would paint that with like a stain, a wood preserving stain. Yep. Back porch. There's that massive condenser. That's the biggest train condenser I've seen on a house this size. It's almost as tall as the house. Again here, brick looks good. That looks good in the photo, that roof. There's something up there. What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. Interesting. Here's where you really see some disgustingness. I honestly don't know how people let a house get here into this condition. Number one, look at that. The gutter is just beat on the sides or something. But I think this might have been, I was about to say dogs, but are dogs getting up on the wall? No, not up here. Wow, it's just nasty. And what the heck is that? Look at that, y'all. I think this is a dirt dauber nest. I don't know what that is. Might be a yellow jacket nest. These are not supposed to be there, and they've been built by little flying critters that are nobody's preventing it. So they have full reign to the back porch. Look at that. Look how dirty that is how do you get that? It just seems like something would have to be rubbing up against it, like a horse. It'd have to be a really big dog rubbing all over your house. I can't compute what happened to get the house to look like that. Obviously, exterior is a very big issue, and I think we're looking at $4,000 to $5,000 in paint on the outside. That's my thought right now. I'd like to get inside the house. I think we've seen what we can see out here. Go, go, go. Well, we're welcome. Let's go in that door, and we are. Look at this. Kind of living up to what we saw on the outside. Look at that sloppiness. Somebody painted the wall and I guess they thought they were going to come back later and do the trim. And later never came. Oh, yeah, look at that. Use some glossy gray. Man, if that had just been flat, I think it would have been all right. But you don't want to put gloss paint on your walls in your living areas. You just don't. Nobody wants it. Look at the light switch. Just easy stuff here to go in and fix up. I swear there's dirt on that ceiling. Whatever got the back porch dirty was rolling around on the ceiling up there. I don't know how do you get disgustingness on the ceiling? I don't know. Maybe it's just something in the photo, but or maybe the roof is leaking and this house has mold. There is something going on. This would be a really interesting one to actually get into and see. Was that just something in the photo? Was it a ghost? Some sort of spirit flying around above your bed? I don't know. There's something going on up there. The glossy paint drives me crazy. Floor looks pretty good. Different floor, I think, here, but and again, I assume it's a vinyl floor product or something. It might surprise me and be something better, but I just kind of assume that. Living area, fireplace looks all right. Ceiling doesn't look too popcorny. All the walls are too glossy. See if you look at the paint or the light reflection off these glossy walls. These folks did not understand paint, and there's just these dirtiness spots on walls and stuff, and I just wonder, was it like horse-sized dogs that lived in here that did this? I just don't know. It feels like home to me. I like that. That's a nice touch on that glossy wall. Use gloss in your bathrooms, like maybe your kitchen. I don't know. Usually bathrooms. You don't use gloss in your main living areas. It's just not right. And if we look up, like you can see here again, they did some painting, but they just did sloppy work. They never redid the trim. I'm sure they never redid the ceiling. They probably just painted these walls. Yep. We've seen this room. The ceiling looks okay. I'm not seeing a lot of cracks or anything like that. No, apparent foundation. Here again, just, they painted this. I guess they were going to come back and fix the ceiling section. Never got to it. Glossy paint. Look at that. Just glossy paint. Crazy. Whoops. I fell out. Sorry, y'all. Yikes. Gotta get back in. I'm getting close. There we are. Okay. Here again. Look at the paintwork. You can do this right. You don't, because you're always going to have to meet the two at some point, and you got to get that edge right. Whether it's with tape or with, a metal shield that you're painting against or whatever it is, you can get these lines right. It doesn't have to look like that. And you don't have to buy all glossy paint at the Lowe's, right? Lowe's makes other kinds of paint, like flat or semi-gloss. You don't have to go full gloss. I do like the texture on the walls. It's got that, that modern knockdown texture, walls, ceiling. This is all no big deal. Painting this is no big deal, but this is full cosmetic, inside and out, because, a lot of their paint choices, well, number one, just super sloppy in how they applied these, their paint and, against the trim, against the ceiling. It's all just sloppy. It all needs to be redone. I don't know what's on the wall right there. For a minute, I thought it spelled a word, but I don't know. And just looking back over here, that bathtub, looking a little old. Everything looking a little old. Yeah. Man, look at the stuff all over that countertop. Wow. Amazing. Yeah, here, this is the one place I'll let you have gloss in the bathroom. I will not let you combine gray and brown or gray and beige or whatever that mustardy color is up there. Peanut butter more. No, 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 no. You can't do that. You can't do that. You violated the paint laws, the paint regulations in the state of Texas. If they're not complimentary, you can't do it. It's against the law. Okay, so yeah, closet there in the bathroom, closet. There's a better view of that tub. That tub, it could probably be saved, but it needs a whole bunch of cleanup. Paint. Man, this thing is full cosmetic. Ooh, I don't want to go there. That's a little too TMI. But dark walls. You don't want this. Nobody wants black walls or dark gray like that. All their paint choices were bad. So, it's kind of a cool house out in the middle of nowhere in Waxahachie or near Waxahachie. Honestly, the tile work here kind of does go with the walls, but that's not what you're supposed to do. You're not supposed to go black on your walls to match black in your tiles. This house just needs somebody to come in and paint it the right color, which is probably that. Or, more of a beige or a gray, and then white trim, crisp, everything nice. The floors, most of the floors have appeared to be okay. Once again, I don't see a bunch of cracks. This is undoubtedly the master. There is someone asleep in that bed. And so, well, maybe not sleeping, because this guy's probably saying, hey, they're going to take some pictures. And she says, I don't care. Just take the pictures. All right, it's got a coffered ceiling. I'm assuming this is the master. Is that a piece of furniture? I don't know what exactly I'm looking at there on the right-hand side. But we're going to let this person go back to sleep. Come back out. Look at that nasty paint job that they did. Once again, with all over the trim and such. You got kind of I think a vinyl floor product here and some big tiles over here. Kind of coming over here into that kitchen area. Yeah, all their paint choices were dark and glossy. And this thing has massive holes in it. What in the world? What in the world has gone on here? What do you guys think would cause something like that? I really don't know. Unless they had to get into... I'm guessing the kids were playing football in here and one of them fell and that's where his head went. Or maybe he went through there and he came out the other side. I don't know what happened here. That is kind of crazy. I think it's relatively easily fixed, but kind of crazy. All right, going up, looking into the laundry room over there, and there it is. And it's just as nasty as the rest of the house. Look at that. Wow, never thought about cleaning, never thought about painting. All the doors, just nasty, dirty, gross. Look at that. There's handprints on that one. That's kind of terrifying if you look at it. I don't know. I don't know what happened in here or who got locked into the laundry room, but they were a little fella and they were trying to get out. I hope they made it. Because that would not be a place to hang out. Looks kind of nasty. Back into some glossy walls and brown peanut butter color. Again, the things I'm looking for, you guys, are just, stuff that needs to be wholly replaced. We've already decided we have to paint this house inside and out. Here we see more damage to the sheetrock here on the back side of that piece of furniture. It's something we need to look at, figure out what's going on back there. Is that fixed, ready to paint, or is that the beginning of a problem? That's the question right there. Okay, I don't know. I think we're in the garage, honestly, because you got that pull down attic. Stop it. Okay, there you go. Got like an attic pull down thing at the top. This might be the garage. Yeah, look, I don't know. Did somebody paint that? Or is that what you call painting? I don't know. I don't think it qualifies as painting. What is going on over here? Maybe if we go to the next picture, we'll see. But I see a TV. I see a cat toy thing out here. Not exactly sure what we were just looking at. I'm not really sure. It just looks like there's no trim on the floors. This just looks like you were in the garage. They got their motorcycles and, not motorcycles. They got their guitars and everything out here and a computer screen. I just don't know. Kitchen looks, don't care for that countertop at all. It might be savable, but I don't know. I don't think so. It's a decent kitchen. The house is just so cluttered. You have to kind of almost, kind of get the clutter out of your mind and just look at the basics of what you're seeing here. I think I see a cat on the countertop there. I think that's a cat. I don't know. And ceiling looking kind of rough. And again, they've done some painting, very, very amateur painting. Didn't get that edge to the ceiling right. They were never coming back to paint that ceiling. They never were. They just didn't know how to paint walls without actually putting some of the paint on the ceiling. We're in a bathroom here. Something horrific happened in that sink. I think that whole thing needs to go. There's no doors on it. This whole vanity needs to go. It looks like there's paint or something all over stuff. Vanity, toilet, that all needs to go, I think. Yikes. Oh my gosh. Look, not painting would have been better for this house than painting it like this, because A, they use glossy peanut butter paint, which nobody wants, and B, they screwed up the ceiling everywhere they did it. And so if their idea was that they were going to come back and fix the ceiling against that corner, yeah, you could do that, or you could have just never got that stuff on the ceiling in the first place, which would have been the better solution. And man, they must have had a special deal down at Lowe's on the glossy peanut butter paint, because they put it all over the place. Craziness over. Oh, there's a message there for us. I'm not sure what it is. I can't quite make out the letters. But here, I think you've got just madness going on with the paint. If you look at the ceiling, they were coming this direction like a storm coming in, and it came in from this direction, and then it came in from this direction. It hadn't quite hit the bed yet, but it was on its way. There was a storm a-coming, my friends, and that's the message that it had for us. Okay. Yes. What we all want, the glossy black paint on the wall. That is a fine choice, and we just ran out of it. That's what happened. Is they started here, it took like 3 or 4 coats to get over the actually normal color on the wall, and they finally got that dark glossy black look that they wanted, and they were going to go ceiling, walls, the whole 9 yards. The entire room was going to be black, and thank God they ran out of paint. They could have finished it with the peanut butter paint. Here we are with another horrible paint choice. Man, this just goes to show that paint choice can absolutely destroy a house. And this is just dark and dungeony and kind of scary. It's kind of scary. At least that was Cowboys blue, Go team. Definitely Cowboys blue. Definitely the worst paint job ever that I've seen. Hey, wait, what do we have here?
Front entryway.
Wait, we're sideways.
1 bedroom.
Is this a value to wait? Should I be watching it this way?
Living area.
Yeah, this is making me dizzy. I can't spend the next 3 minutes upside down like
bedroom.
that. Oh, whoops. All right. Thanks for that. Really do appreciate it. Let's see. That was down here. Wait, is that where that was? hold on. No, that wasn't it. Hang on. I got knocked out. It was way near the end. Yeah, it was here. We just had a couple of things left over, a bunch of junk in the garage. And yeah. I don't need to put that up. All right, let's jump into this one and see what we got. Full cosmetic, and I'm going 1.25 because I need so much on the outside. Let me just kind of compare that. One was 19, 1.25 gave me the $4,000 I need to work on the outside. This thing was kind of neglected, so I'm going to go one on general repairs. And they said no known issues on everything. I didn't see cracks. We didn't see the some of the internal mechanicals like water heater, the internal HVAC stack. They didn't show us those in the pictures. That would have been a lot better for us. Roof appeared to look okay. You know, for right now, I could assume, where are we at? They want 262. And if I just had the cosmetic and the repairs, we're at 240. Which is probably getting about right for this thing. I have a suspicion, because the house looked neglected, that there's going to be something in the big five category that's going to pop up, whether that was HVAC work, plumbing, or electrical that needed to be done. I don't know. I think those are the wild cards. It's just when you see a house that has been this neglected, and honestly, I think some of the things they did to the house actually did not improve the value of it. The paint work that they did inside, they'll say, hey, the house has been recently painted. All of us, I think, would walk into that house and say, oh my gosh, some people shouldn't be given paintbrushes or the ability to go to Lowe's because they got all the wrong stuff. Dark colors, glossy colors. It looked like a house of horrors on the inside. And so, but that's all just the cosmetic stuff. I do think 35 is okay budget. I would probably want to be closer to 40 on this house. I don't know where that is, 40 to 45. There's something that's going to be needed somewhere down in here, and we just don't know what it is. I think the actual repairs on this house are going to be closer to 40 or 45 once you get into it and figure out what's in there. What are we not seeing that needs to be dealt with besides just the cosmetic stuff? So I think 240 is what the model says. I think the answer on this house is actually probably around 230, given what we don't know. So 230 is about where I would be. These guys are at 262. Well, we're not coming to the match right here in Waxahachie, but it's 40. What is that? I'm 240 there. I'm really at 230 on this house. They're at 2, so we're 30,000 apart. Maybe they got a little room to deal, and maybe I would become more attracted to a house out in a field in Waxahachie if it was a little bit better deal. I don't know. Seems a little bit middle of nowhere. I think that's probably one of the biggest issues I'm going to have with this house, is that it's kind of in the middle of nowhere. Although I will say easy access to 45, easy access to Waxahachie. So I don't think you'd feel quite like you're in the middle of nowhere out there, but I think when every day you walk out and look around, you're going to realize, bro, you're living in a field. And that's okay. That's okay. If we can make money off of it, I don't care if it's in a field, but I don't think we're making money at 262. All right. So that's it for today, guys. We're at cashoffermasterclass.com. If you want to click that and get the calculator, catch up on the videos, you can also just search for Cash Offer Masterclass on YouTube or Google at any time. It takes you right to our content because there's only one Cash Offer Masterclass, and it's this one right here. Guys, I'm so glad that you stuck around. Those who stick around to the end, I call you my 1% club that actually see the closing comments. If you haven't already, please subscribe. We're building this channel. We're at 530 subscribers now. We're moving along. We're on our way to 1,000 and then 5,000 and then 10,000. Who knows? I don't know how many people are going to be interested in this type of content, but you are and I am. And as long as there's a couple of us that enjoy looking at houses and figuring out what they're worth, as an investment, then we'll keep doing it. It was so nice to spend some time with you today. I hope you enjoy your Thursday, and looking forward to Friday, and got episode 50 coming up. We're going to do something special as always on the 10th episodes. If you haven't seen episode 40, go back there and catch it. Very, very important video. One of the most revealing videos as far as telling my secrets of how we do this that I've ever made. And there you go. Go watch episode 40. See you guys tomorrow. Take care.